Hey, it's Mike D at Down Pepper Tree Lane. Today we're talking about beautiful, gorgeous coffee table books like the one in front of me with Brigitte Bardot and lush photography. And this is a hardcover book. Yeah, it has a little tear in the corner, but overall it's a pristine book. And it's real important to be on when you're at bookstores and flea markets, be on the lookout for beautiful coffee table books. They really enhance your house, and guests like to look through them at the pictures when they're, just sitting around having a drink and have a few minutes of time. It's really a nice collection to have coffee table books. So Brigitte Bardot, we're going to talk about her final movies. She started in the 1950s, was very popular all through the 60s. By 1970s, she was winding down. So her final six movies were in the 70s. The Bear and the Doll is a really very cute French film. It's a romantic comedy in France, and she says that's one of her favorites. She's kind of a wealthy woman who gets into a car accident with a simple guy out in the country, and there's a star-crossed romance, of course, but it's charming, very French. And a lot of hers are in subtitles. She spoke minimal English, and most of her films were French with subtitles. After The Bear and the Doll, she did The Novices, and that was another comedy, farce. She played a nun in a nun's habit, but yet they figured out a way to get her into a bikini anyway. Funny how the directors always did that to Brigitte Bardot. She was always the sex kitten, and she tried to get out of it at the very end. We'll talk about that. But yeah, she ran around in a bikini, and she pretended to be like a prostitute in this comedy. I've never seen the whole thing, but I've seen parts of it, and it just looks really silly and wild and really funny. I think it's funny, the parts I've seen. But that's Les Novices. That was 70. And then in 71, she did Rum Runners, which I love. It's a great popcorn adventure, comedy, romance, thriller, mostly adventure. And that's set in the like a Caribbean island, and she plays a movie star, and she gets caught up with this captain of this boat, and they're running alcohol across the waters. And it's a really unique film. I've never seen anything like it, but it's set in the 1920s with all these beautiful costumes and boats. It's very fast moving. It just carries you along on this wild adventure. I would definitely recommend. It's called Boulevard of Rum or Rum Runners. Either one. If you can find that one, that would be a real delight. And she gets to do some acting in this one, and it's one of her better roles. And after that, around 72, was The Legend of Frenchy King. And that was a parody, another comedy, of a Western, a European Western. And they paired her with Claudia Cardinal, two bombshell babes. And that's a good one to find, too. It's like they're outlaws. They live in this small town. They're looking for oil. And they've all got four brothers and four sisters. And there's a wild cat fight and a town sheriff. They're trying to pull the wool over his eyes, and lots of cowboy tight outfits and train robberies. And it's one of these big popcorn films as well. I mean, and it's a French town set in New Mexico, but filmed in Spain. You got all that? With an international cast. She definitely had films with international casts, and they were marketed all over the world. But basically, she was a European star that broke into America because she was so famous at her peak. And yeah, I would definitely try to get Frenchie King. That's a fun one. And she wears that iconic black tight cowboy outfit there. And her career was starting to wind down. She couldn't get really the roles she wanted. She was kind of becoming. She was around 38 years old and becoming an older sex kitten, and didn't really want to keep doing that. She knew it would come to an end at some point. But she still had a lot of spirit and energy in all these films. You can watch them, and she still brings a big energy to the screen. She's not walking through the parts. You just there's all this energy and charisma around her, even in her final films. And then so in '73, she goes back with her original director Roger Vadim and makes Don Juan, or Don Juan '73. It's called, and that's a drama. It's very serious. She plays like a female version of Don Juan. She meets all these men and she seduces them and she tricks them, and she manipulates men. And it's just a commentary on the legend of Don Juan. It kind of modernizes it for the '70s. She lives in a submarine below this river in Paris. I really like it. It's very different. It's stylish. I like seeing her in a much more dramatic role because she's very good at drama, I feel. And kind of watching her as this seductress of men. It's just, a unique early '70s film. And the last movie she did was called Colinot, Colinot. Colinot, it's a medieval romantic romp in the countryside, and there's all kinds of princes and princesses and seducing each other, and there's a kidnapping, and someone's trying to find his lost wife or something, and she plays kind of like the wiser older princess in this role. She was starting to graduate into mature roles and at that point, and I've never seen it, but I've seen clips, and it's charming, beautiful costumes. It's a medieval romantic romp. So she wanted to go out in kind of a classy note, she said. And Don Juan was pretty dark, and she decided to do something a little more light for her final swan song. And that was in late '73, '74. I've seen some posters that say Don Juan '74. And then it took a few years for her movies to be distributed. Like in the US, they came to the US by like '76. It took a few years for these to go all around the world and be distributed. She wound up her career with a Playboy shoot in '75. It was like 40 and Beautiful, one of these nude spreads that if you can find that Playboy, it's probably collectible. And, the French have a different view of nudity and such. And that was it. She wanted to wind up with Playboy, and she just wound down her singing career. Their last record was You Are the Sunshine of My Life, the French version, and that was '73. And then she retired to her beach resort and was kind of happy to relax and work with her dogs. And she became an animal activist after that, and kind of switched over to a different life of animal activism and such. So that's Brigitte Bardot. Those are her final movies. I collect, like I said, really lush, beautiful coffee table books like this. And I think they're really beautiful to have around the house. And she has a unique life. Like I said, it's a European story, but she did break through to America because she was so internationally famous. And she dated Warren Beatty, Glenn Ford, but she married Roger Vadim, her director. And I'll leave it at that. Like I said, the best one to find would be Rum Runners, if you could find that one. And have a great day. I'm Mike D. And like, subscribe, patron, shop my store, which is at downpeppertreelane.com. Please support my work. Give me back some energy and love. Hit that thumbs up. I need to receive energy because I'm giving, and we have to complete the cycle here. I really appreciate feedback from you guys in the form of buying something cool at my shop, like a gift bag or a piece of jewelry. And I have a really nice taste, really cool stuff there at downpeppertreelane.com. We'll leave it at that. Okay, bye-bye.